Belief precedes achievement. It is one of the most powerful, yet most overlooked truths in personal development. Before any great invention, before any record-breaking feat, before any monumental success, there was first belief. Not belief from the world, not belief from the critics or the crowds, but belief within the individual. This internal conviction is not based on current evidence, but on a deep understanding that the mind, when properly directed, becomes the architect of reality. When a person believes in themselves, they activate a force that transcends talent, luck, or timing. This belief is not a shallow affirmation repeated out of desperation. It is a quiet, steady knowing that says, "I am capable, I will find a way, I will not stop until I arrive." It is this inner faith that gives birth to perseverance, resilience, and creativity. Without belief, even the most gifted person will hesitate, and hesitation kills potential faster than failure ever could. Think of any monumental achievement in history. Before the Wright brothers ever got their machine off the ground, they had to believe, deeply, that man could fly. The science was against them, the world laughed at them, but their belief anchored them. Their conviction allowed them to try, to fail, to try again, and eventually to soar. The plane was not just lifted by mechanics and engines. It was lifted by belief. This is why belief must come first. You cannot wait for conditions to be perfect. You cannot wait for applause or approval. If you do, you'll spend your whole life preparing and never performing. You must start with the belief that you are already enough to begin. That belief gives you the courage to move, and movement invites opportunity, learning, and growth. People often wait to believe until they have results, but that is not how success works. You get results because you believe. The internal state always precedes the external outcome. A weak belief system will sabotage even the strongest strategy. A strong belief system will elevate even the simplest plan. The mind must be programmed to expect success before the hands can build it. Every great leader, artist, athlete, and entrepreneur first succeeded in their imagination. They saw themselves winning before they ever touched the prize. Belief is also what keeps you going when the world turns silent. There are seasons in every journey where nothing seems to work, where progress is invisible. In those moments, if you lack belief, you will stop. You will walk away from the very thing that was about to break through. But if you believe, truly believe, you will persist. You will treat every setback as a setup, every delay as a lesson, every obstacle as a chance to refine your path. Belief converts adversity into fuel. Moreover, belief is contagious. When you believe in yourself, others begin to see it too. They may not know why, but they feel it in your energy, your posture, your tone. You carry yourself differently. You speak with clarity, you move with conviction, you become magnetic. People are drawn to those who radiate certainty, not arrogance, but calm, assured confidence. This is the power of belief. It shapes your presence long before it shapes your outcomes. And here's the critical truth. Belief is a choice. It's not reserved for the lucky or the exceptional. Every person, regardless of background, education, or resources, has the power to choose belief. It begins with what you say to yourself when no one is watching. It begins with the vision you hold in your mind and the emotions you attach to that vision. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not enough, your actions will reflect it. But if you train your mind to expect success, to anticipate growth, to embrace challenge, then you position yourself for extraordinary achievement. You do not need permission to believe in yourself. You do not need credentials or recognition. What you need is a decision to become the person who acts in alignment with greatness even when no one else sees it yet. And when you make that decision, you shift everything. Your thoughts change. Your habits change. Your world begins to respond to the new frequency you've chosen to operate on. In the end, belief is the beginning of all greatness. It is the soil from which every dream grows. Without it, talent lies dormant, ideas remain unused, and potential dies quietly. But with belief, real, unwavering belief, you become unstoppable. You don't wait for life to prove your worth. You prove your worth by how you show up every single day, and that, more than anything else, is what turns ordinary people into legends. Acting as if is not about pretending. It is not about putting on a show to deceive others or to hide from yourself. It is a deliberate mental strategy, a form of psychological conditioning that aligns your current actions with the future reality you intend to create. When you act as if you are already the person you desire to become, you begin to shift your identity from where you are to where you are going. This is not imagination for entertainment. It is imagination for transformation. Your actions are driven by who you believe you are. So if you wait until you feel successful before acting successfully, you'll wait forever. But when you act as if you are already competent, confident, and powerful, your brain and body begin to follow. You build neurological pathways that reinforce this new behavior. You condition your nervous system to accept this elevated version of yourself as your new standard. It is not fake. It is formative. You are not faking success. You are formatting your mind for it. Think of a shy individual who wants to become a confident speaker. If they always act from their current self-image, timid, nervous, unsure, they will stay locked in that identity. But if they begin to act as if they are confident, speaking with presence, standing tall, projecting their voice, they activate a shift. Each repetition of this behavior begins to reinforce a new identity. Soon, what started as a strategy becomes natural. They are no longer acting, they are becoming. The same principle applies to leadership. You don't become a leader by being given a title. You become a leader by leading. If you want to be respected, act as if you already deserve respect. If you want to inspire others, speak as if your words matter. If you want to create change, behave as if your actions carry weight. Eventually, the world catches up with the image you've already been living. This principle works because the subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined and consistently acted upon. When you consistently behave in ways aligned with your desired future, your mind accepts that version of you as truth. And once the mind believes something to be true, it seeks out behaviors, habits, and outcomes to match it. This is why acting as if is such a powerful strategy. It tricks the mind not into fantasy, but into alignment with your higher potential. Of course, this process must be sincere. Acting as if is not about delusion or superficial ego. It's about matching your energy and behavior to the standards of the life you want to live. It's about asking yourself, how would the best version of me behave right now? And then doing exactly that. This requires courage because you will often feel unqualified at first. You will feel like an imposter, but that is simply the discomfort of growth. It is the resistance that arises when you stretch beyond the familiar. And it is also the gateway to permanent change. When you act as if you are already worthy, already powerful, already disciplined, you create momentum. This momentum builds confidence. Confidence fuels consistency. Consistency rewires identity. And identity is destiny. What you repeatedly do becomes who you are. But the spark that ignites this chain reaction is the decision to act as if, not once, but over and over, until the gap between who you are and who you wish to be disappears. This strategy is also a protection against procrastination. When people say, "I'll start when I feel ready," they wait indefinitely, but the truth is, feelings follow actions. When you act like a winner, you begin to feel like one. When you act like a professional, you start making professional choices. The emotion you desire doesn't come before the action. it is produced by it. You create confidence by behaving confidently. You build courage by choosing courageous actions. You don't wait for motivation. You act, and motivation follows. Acting as if also changes how others treat you. People mirror what you project. If you carry yourself with dignity, if you speak with belief, if you move with intention, people respond to that. They treat you not just based on your results, but on your energy and presence. This doesn't mean pretending to know everything or being arrogant. It means behaving with a level of responsibility and vision that aligns with where you're going. It means showing up now as if the future is already yours. The moment you begin to act as if you are the best, as if no one is better than you, not in arrogance, but in assuredness, you elevate everything. Your mindset, your habits, your performance. All of it rises to match your decision. And the world, seeing the way you carry yourself, begins to believe it too. Not because you're faking it, but because you've chosen to live in harmony with the person you were always meant to be. Preparation validates your confidence. Without preparation, confidence is hollow, nothing more than a fragile shell that cracks under pressure. Real confidence is not a performance. It is the natural outcome of persistent effort, learning, and mastery. It is the quiet, unshakable certainty that you are ready, not because someone said so, but because you know how much work you've done behind the scenes. You've built it, earned it, and refined it through repetition and sacrifice. Confidence at its highest level is not loud. It is grounded. You cannot act as if you are the best if you have not prepared to support that identity. The power of acting as if only works when it's rooted in preparation. Without it, you're just pretending, and deep down, your subconscious knows the difference. It knows whether you've studied your craft, whether you've put in the hours, whether you've done the hard work. When you're unprepared, your mind fills with doubt, not because you're not capable, but because you haven't honored the process. Preparation is a declaration. It is a message you send to yourself and to the world that you take your goals seriously. When you prepare thoroughly, you give yourself permission to walk into any room, onto any stage, into any challenge, and own your space. You're not hoping things go well. You know what to do. You've trained for it. That is where true confidence is born. It is not a wish. It is a memory of what you've already done 1,000 times in practice. Great athletes don't walk into a game with confidence just because they've won before. They are confident because of the hours no one sees, the early mornings, the extra reps, the brutal training. Their mind and body are prepared. The same principle applies to all areas of life. A speaker prepares the message until every word feels natural. An entrepreneur studies their market, rehearses their pitch, and knows their numbers. An artist refines their technique again and again. What looks like talent is often just visible preparation. Confidence without preparation leads to anxiety. You step into situations hoping they'll go your way instead of knowing you can influence the outcome. You fear exposure because deep down you know you're not ready, but when you're prepared, that anxiety dissolves. You trust yourself. You don't need to hype yourself up. You are already elevated by the work you've done. Every ounce of preparation is a deposit into your mental and emotional strength. It builds a reserve you can draw from when the pressure is on. Preparation also builds resilience, because when you're prepared and still face setbacks, you can recover faster. You know it's not a reflection of your worth, it's just a temporary result. You can adjust, adapt, and return with a better strategy. Preparation makes you flexible, it makes you intelligent in adversity, it gives you the tools to pivot instead of panic. Without it, even the smallest challenge can knock you off course. Furthermore, preparation is the ultimate sign of respect for yourself, for your goals, and for the people you serve. When you prepare well, you demonstrate that you value the moment, you value the opportunity, you value the outcome. People can feel that. They trust those who take their work seriously. Your preparation creates credibility, It makes others believe in your leadership, your words, your decisions. Because when you've done the work, it shows. It's visible in your posture, your presence, your precision. Some people want the rewards of excellence without the discipline of preparation. They want to be seen as great without doing what greatness requires. But confidence built on shortcuts collapses under the weight of real responsibility. True greatness can't be faked. It's forged in the dark, where no one's watching. It's built during long hours when no praise is given, when you could quit but don't. That's where confidence earns its backbone. To act like the best, to believe that no one is better than you must match that mindset with preparation. Because when you've done the work, you don't need to convince anyone, not even yourself. You know, you move with calm, you speak with clarity, you handle pressure with poise, and that level of confidence can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. It must be built, and the tool that builds it is preparation. Every rehearsal, every study session, every extra effort is not just about skill. It's about belief. It's about proving to yourself, over and over, that you are capable and worthy. So when the moment comes to perform, to lead, to rise, you are not intimidated. You are ready, because you've already lived this moment in your mind, trained for it in your practice, and prepared for it with intention. That is what makes your confidence real. That is what gives your presence power. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a law more powerful than circumstance, more precise than chance, and more rewarding than any fortune ever made. It is the law of belief, belief in yourself, in your purpose, and in your power to act with certainty even when the evidence has yet to arrive. Today, I urge you to adopt a new posture in life. Act as if you are the best. No one is better than you. Now, let me be clear. This is not arrogance. This is alignment with the power that lies dormant within you. It is not about looking down on others. It is about lifting yourself up to meet the true standard of your potential. Think of every successful person you admire. Before they were applauded, they applauded themselves. Before the world knew their name, they acted as if the world should listen. This principle is not fantasy. It is strategy. When you walk, walk like your steps matter. When you speak, speak as if your words create worlds. When you think, think with the clarity of a mind that knows it was made for greatness. But to act as if you are the best, you must do more than pretend. You must prepare. You must learn, train, grow, and challenge yourself until the illusion becomes identity and confidence becomes character. Excellence is not inherited. It is constructed, daily, brick by brick, thought by thought, belief by belief. Now, you may ask, but what if I fail? And I will tell you this. Even when you fail while acting like the best, your fall will be higher than the ceiling of those who never tried. Acting like the best plants seeds of leadership, of courage, of persistence, and the harvest will always come. You have no obligation to be average. You are not meant to shrink to fit the world's comfort zone. Raise your standards, speak your vision. Walk with the certainty of one who knows that being the best is not a title you wait for. It's a posture you choose now. Believe it, embody it. Act as if you are the best. Because the truth is, no one is better than you when you fully believe in who you were created to be. Thank you.